this is Sarah from Sassaries, and I am back to talk about the next 5 stories in the Great Tales of Horror by H.P. Lovecraft collection. So I have previously filmed a quick, brief video of the first 5 stories in this collection, and I'm going to talk about more than 5 actually. I don't know, we'll just see how many I can get through before this video cuts off. How about that? Okay? So first off, we have Pickman's Model, and by the way, I kind of had to go back and reread the synopsises for a few of these stories on Wikipedia because it has been a long time, and I remember them, but not clearly enough to talk about them and discuss why I wrote down what I wrote down. So first up, we have Pickman's Model, which I gave 4.25 stars, and Pickman's Model follows a artist who has very depraved art. It is so depraved that he gets kicked out of this famous art club, and his friend ends up going to take a tour of Pickman's gallery. And what he finds is shocking because, Pickman has these grotesque, monstrous portraits and paintings and all kind of things. And it is revealed that maybe these monsters are more real than just paintings in his wild imagination. So I really enjoyed that one. Definitely recommend checking that one out. The next one is the Dunwich Horror, which I forgot that this was what the Dunwich Horror was about, but I couldn't remember which story this one was connected to, and that's the name of it. So this follows a boy whose mother is very his mother is kind of weird looking, and she's under the control of her father, and the boy is very strange, to the point where dogs bark at him. He kind of sounds like the Antichrist, basically, and it's hinted at that his father is Yog-Sothoth, or whatever his name is. I can't pronounce it, and he's in the same bigger than God category as Cthulhu, so they're very big, powerful creatures, and this young man, if you can call him a man, is obsessed with something, and it has to do with the Necromonium. And the Necromonium is this book that is very dark, as you can tell. It's called the Necromonium, and it has to do with all kind of things that should not have basically been written about. And it's very interesting. I definitely recommend it. I gave it 3.75 stars. The only problem that I really had with it was that it was a little long, and because it was so long, it hurt the pacing of the story. I don't think it needed to be as long as it was, but I did definitely enjoy it. And then the next one is The Statement of Randolph Carter, which follows a man traveling in a swampy kind of area with his friend, and all kind of stuff happens. It's not a very long story. To be honest, I pretty much completely forgot about this one, totally, until I looked it up on Wikipedia. I originally gave it 3.5 stars, but I don't know if I agree with that right now, because back then I had written in my notes that I was already forgetting it, so that right there just shows that it's not a memorable story. So maybe skip that one. And then the next story is In the Vault, which I definitely remembered this one, but it wasn't until looking at the synopsis that I remembered the big reason why it had occurred. So this man, he's a coffin maker, and he does all the stuff for the graves in this town, and he ends up getting trapped in the vault, and he has to step on the coffin to get out of the vault, and he's horribly mangled. And why it's revealed that he's mangled is very creepy. It's already a creepy story, but it's very fascinating. I really liked that one. I gave it 4 stars. Maybe I'll give it a higher rating, because now that I think about it, I feel like it should be 4.25, because it was really good. The next one is Cool Air, which I really like this one. I also gave it 4 stars. I feel like maybe I should give this one a higher one as well. What I said earlier in a previous video about how time goes on and your opinions change. I feel like these two, my opinions have gotten stronger, and while the one with Randolph Carter, it's gotten lower. Things like that. With Cool Air, it follows a man who he's in a friendship, I guess you could say, with a doctor. And the doctor reminds me a lot of Chillingsworth from the Scarlet Letter. He's very profound and da-da-da-da. and he always keeps his room very cold. And then one day the temperature bursts, and the cold air goes away, and what's revealed is why this doctor needs cold air. Is very chilling, ha ha ha. I definitely recommend it a lot. Like, it's so good. It's very dark, especially when you find out why this man needs cold air. Really fascinating. I definitely recommend that one. Then there is The Thing on the Doorstep, and this one's very fascinating because it follows a man who is telling the story about how he killed his friend and why he had to kill him. And his friend ended up marrying this woman whose father was not a good man. Let's put it like that. He did some pretty satanic stuff, you could say. And just think body snatching. We'll just leave it at that. Body snatching. And we're going to just keep it at that. Body snatching. So I gave that one a 4.25 stars. And then there's The Dreams in the Witch House, which follows the tales of a witch. Really fascinating, really dark. I didn't really expect Lovecraft to take on the story of a witch because it's not something he'd usually do, but this witch is very satanic-ish. Like, very satanic-ish. Like, yeah, when you watch Coven, you're like, oh, like, this is like some satanic stuff. Okay, let me pray. But then when you read something like The Dreams in the Witch House, it's like, oh my god, let me pray. There's this big giant rat thing that followed the witch around, and it felt trippy. It made me feel incredibly freaked out. And then there's The Shadow over Innsmouth, which I call this the fish people one. And it has a very weird concept. Basically this one has a lot of inbreeding in the town of Innsmouth, so much so that people don't go to this town. And that means there's a lot of inbreeding. And the people of Innsmouth don't look like people, because of the deal that they've made to keep their supplies going and so forth. So yeah, it's very kind of Cthulhu-ish, but then more so because it's just creepy AF. And I really liked the themes in this one. There were good themes of hatred, fear, madness, and the unknown, of course. And I gave that one 4.25 stars. And I'm currently reading At the Mountains of Madness. The only problem I have with it is that it's so geologically heavy. I took a geology class, so like I understand a lot of what they're saying. That doesn't mean I want to read it. Like, I don't want to read all that extra information on which time period these rocks and mountain landscapes belong to and how it's so old. Like, I know it's important, but I don't care. So I've been reading that story since I think June or July. Yow. And it's December. So, out of those, I think my favorites are Cool Air, In the Vault, The Dream in the Witch House, and The Shadow over Innsmouth. And those are the ones that I recommend the most out of the ones that I've talked about. I also recommend Pickman's Model. So that is me talking about The Great Tales of Horror by H.P. Lovecraft. Let me know which tales I should read next, because I'm trying to get over the mountains of madness. So bye, and I'll talk to you soon.